So this is the Rugged Revival podcast. We are the home of the UK's country, Americana and Roots music community. We're back at it. We did take a short break from the show because I went and got married. So I'm officially off the market. I know, yeah. I need to add some sound effects here. But so sorry, ladies. I know there's a million broken hearts, but I'm officially off the market. And I think there'll be any dry eyes around anyway. Anyway, I am joined by Rugged Ronnie once again. It feels like we've been away for a long time. It's been a couple of weeks, I think, and we've already forgotten how to do these podcasts.
I've forgotten you, to be honest.
Who are you?
Yeah.
But so yeah, just to remind you of who Rugged Ronnie is, he's a man not just content with having the one birthday, he's like the Queen, so he's a greedy little bugger. He faked a second birthday recently, and he managed to scam another bottle of whiskey out of me. So on Facebook, it said it was his birthday. So I kindly sent you a bottle of wild turkey. You didn't say anything to anyone. Everyone's wishing you happy birthday. I put it on Instagram, and your birthday was in March, wasn't it, you prat?
I cannot tell you, looking at your face, you were mortified when I told you that it wasn't my birthday and you'd sent me a bottle of whiskey. Anyway, Facebook changed it for some bizarre reason, but thank you to everybody who sent me lots of birthday love and presents. I didn't tell you at the time because I wanted some extra presents, so thank you to everybody for that. Much appreciated.
You can hang on to that bottle of whiskey till next March, so don't bother opening it, will you? Because I ain't getting you fucking anything for next one. But there you go. Anyway, that's enough of our waffle. Our first guest back deserves the epic introduction that we gave him recently on Instagram and on the socials. He's the Appalachian Angel, Kentucky's answer to Barry White, a man with hair so majestic it just stops traffic. He's our mate, and he's your mate, Mr. Daniel Cain. And before I hand over to say hello to Daniel properly...
Let's go.
There we go.
Careful.
It's the writing's a bit stretched. I put on a bit of timber since we did a bit of a merch swap last time, mate. But I felt it was only right to represent you properly on this show. But how are you doing, mate? Welcome to the show.
You are. It's looking great on you, man. Looking great. I'm doing great. Hey, look at that.
Hey, look at the fireworks. I love it.
Oh,
no
great.
Expense spared. But yeah, how are you doing anyway, Daniel? Welcome to the show, mate.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm doing great. Blessed and focused, hungry, just trying to out here and get it. Trying to eat and feed my kids. I don't even have kids, but you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean, mate. But and it looks like you're going out and getting it from what I can see on your socials and from when we talk. So it's great to have you on, and appreciate you being the first guest back on. But yeah, what we tend to do is hand over to you as the artist to, rather than me and Ronnie kind of explain badly of your style of music or how you kind of portray yourself. So perhaps in a sentence or two, describe your music to the listeners, mate.
Okay. Yeah. A sentence or two. I like to tell people that my genre is being Daniel Cain. That's the first sentence. And then the second one is that right now, the music kind of finds itself. You know, I mainly play an acoustic. Even when I'm playing with a band, it's me and my guitar and the pieces around me. And, you know, it's anywhere in the realm of blues, country, folk, rock, country, bluegrass, psychedelic. You know, it's just a bunch of different flavors put together. Call it roots rock, call it alternative, you could call it Americana. And you know, I'm the type of guy that if you know me long enough, who knows how close my music sounds to what it sounds like now in 5 years. And yeah, it's more just about pursuing art, and that's what I do. I got a hell of a story how I started getting to actually doing it full time, and that's a much longer than 1 to 2 sentences. But
well, we'll save that one for Ronnie because he will certainly have some questions, and we'll kind of expand on that. But yeah, I love the way that you've described it. I mean, we hear new things every time we have artists on about different genres. The alternative is a new one. We've had melody medicine, I think we had previously, and
nice.
Yeah, it's cool. There's so many ways to kind of describe what you do, and you can't be pigeonholed. You're Daniel Cain at the end of the day. So
That's
happy
right.
days. But I will hand over to Ronnie because Ronnie's a good place to kind of delve into the early days and kind of start from there, mate.
We
So,
love a bit of early gossip, don't we? We
oh,
love a
we
bit
do,
of early
mate. We
gossip.
do.
Daniel, I've got to start by saying it's an absolute pleasure to meet you. And let me tell you, TJ has been so excited to have you on the show for our first guest back after a bit of our time off. He's been like a child in a sweet shop. And he's been wearing his little t-shirt everywhere he goes. Everybody says, oh, look, you know, it's Daniel Cain, stripping off. Even at his wedding, he was wearing the t-shirt, would you believe? So he's been
That's
talking about
awesome.
you constantly, like you've grown up together. So you'll start seeing bursting into trying to get in all the time with questions. But no, I love it. But it's great to meet you. So starting off, as I ask every artist that comes on the show, I like to delve into your background, where you started, and what it was like as a child, in going into your teenage years. So, Daniel, can you tell us where little Daniel started?
Yeah. Where in I started in Stanford,
Everywhere.
Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I was born. I was born in a small town in Kentucky, USA, right where pretty much the border of what you'd call the Appalachian foothills, the knobs, and the bluegrass all kind of start to meet. So it's like three different geographic regions kind of playing into one county. And yeah, that's where I started. Now in music, I started, I guess, there too. Is that what you mean? More like where did I start with
Yeah,
music?
start off from day one. Where did you come from? What did you do? All the way through to when you started with music. It'd be amazing.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, I was let's see. I'm telling to you like a biography. I was born to my mom and my dad was kind of more of a country boy, and mom was a Catholic schoolgirl from Louisville. And they had my oldest sister in 1985 in outskirts Louisville. They moved out to where I was born because back then you got married when that happened and you figured it out, and that's what they did. And then 10 years later, I was born, a little satellite kid in a small town, and um, I was, I guess I was born in a musical family. My dad was a guitar teacher, and he had a guitar shop on Main Street, the little tiny Main Street in our town called Main Street Music. And my mom, she taught in the school. She taught special ed, and I don't know if you guys call it special education there, but mainly focuses on people with disabilities and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then she sang in the choir too, growing up. And so I grew up like a little random out in the country where there's no like real Catholic community. I was like born Catholic and went to mass on Sunday and watched mom in the choir. And then, on Friday, Saturday nights, dad was a honky tonker and a blues guy, and he would go play mainly all cover stuff. He was in cover bands and just played regionally. And that was kind of my surroundings of music. I can remember being really young and having like my dad just like on any given night, just like a VHS of like a Stevie Ray Vaughan live concert playing in the living room, or it would be like someone like just some of the big cats in bluegrass like Tony Rice or Earl Scruggs back in the day. And yeah, so I guess those are some of my earliest days and how music was always around me. Now I was the youngest in the family, or am the youngest. So I was just the baby boy with two older sisters, and um, I guess speeding up to, went to school just like any other kid around here. Went to public school, and um, I think when I was around like 8 or 9, Dad tried to get me a guitar for, well, yeah, no, he did. He got me a guitar for Christmas, but it was right-handed, and I'm a true southpaw. I play left-handed, and um, Dad was always a little bit aloof, just like any good old American dad. How old are you? What? Oh, you're left-handed, So he got me this right-handed guitar, and I think he was trying to just see if I could pick it up. A lot of lefties, they can pick up guitar right-handed. I could not. I just never made sense. something about holding the guitar this way it just feels weird. And I can remember this was the first memory of a guitar in my hand that was supposed to be mine. And Dad sets it in my hand, and I'm on the couch, and I'm nervous because, like, it's kind of a big deal that Dad could play guitar to us kids. He's like a superhero. And he's just like, bends down on the couch, and he's looking at me like, well, strum the damn thing. And I'm like, he's trying to show me like a chord, and it's just freaked me out. And I can remember him just like, he'd spend about 5 seconds on something before he decided. And he was like, all right. And I think right there he thought I was not going to be a player or anything, and just gave up pretty much on the idea that I would follow in his footsteps. So, but then a couple years later, around like, I guess I was like 9 or 10 years old, Dad was still running the shop, and he would let me, I would like, back in the day, it wasn't so dangerous to like be a kid walking down the street. Or maybe it was, and times were just different. But Dad would leave me like a quarter on the counter when I got home from school on the bus, and he'd let me walk down to his shop on Main Street because it was probably like, I don't know, a mile away or something like that. And so about halfway there was a little family time grocery, and I would go get a little fudge round with a quarter and walk up to the store. And then he'd put me to work pretty much. And he would just have me polishing guitars or hanging out in the back, reading comic books or something. And one day, there was this left-handed guitar, unbeknownst to me. I just thought it looked different because I was a kid. I was like, what's this one? Why does this one look so different? He was like, yeah, that's left-handed, son. I was like, oh, cool. I'm left-handed. He's like, yeah, that's right. And he goes, wait, that's right. Yeah. Hey, grab that thing and get over here. And he has me come behind his cashier's register. And he sits down with me with his right-handed guitar. And like, if you can imagine, I'm holding it like this. He's facing me, holding it that way. So it's a mirror image when I'm left-handed and you're right-handed. And really quick, that became this where I was just like, I don't know. I picked up on it really fast. He showed me like a chord right there, and it was like a mirror. I could just follow his hands, put it right there, and strum. He's like, that was perfect. Show me another one. He was like, that was perfect. And then I watched like one of the very few times I ever saw my dad's eyes like light up without, knowing it's polite. He really impressed him, and I'll always remember that. But he's like, take that guitar home. And he was super excited. I was too. And I was probably like I said, 9, 10, 11, something like that when I got my first guitar. And so that's when I started playing, was like at that age. And I remember walking back from the shop with a gig bag, and I was like looking in the reflections on the arcade across the street, just like thinking how cool it looked. And that's how early my love for like guitar started to seed. But it took me a really long time between then and when I started playing music out. So that was like pretty much, I guess it was anywhere from like 14 to 16 years later. I didn't start really playing out in shows or anything until I was like 25, so just several years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a natural perfectionist thing to me that I've been trying to overcome, but it's like the type that just like, for a long time kept me from ever even getting on stage to try it. And it was a weird conflicting, and you just interject if there's questions you need.
No,
but I'm just
carry on.
following your actual prompt to the T. But so Dad, he was weird. It was a really confusing raising. He was like, give me a guitar and be excited and want me to learn. But then all of a sudden it was like, he wouldn't ever try to bring me on stage. He discouraged my natural wants to like go into the arts for a career. It was weird. It was just, to a kid. Now I look back and I go, oh, because Mom would have kicked your ass if you would have had me become an artist because she knew you were a rambling man. Got it. That's the way I kind of look at it now. I'm like, oh, it was just the wife you were pleasing, so you confused the kid. I mean, I'm sure it's in a very, very common story. So yeah, it was weird. So I was like very confused. I didn't feel too encouraged. I felt like, here's the thing, kind of. I don't know, maybe. See ya. Very confusing. Same. Dad wasn't Catholic. Mom was. It was very confusing when it came to faith. This life was confusing with two opposites that attracted. And so I got good enough at like my first guitar heroes was like Jimi Hendrix, really Jimi Hendrix and Angus Young from AC/DC were like my two, like as a kid. I was like, that's what I want to do. And I always just wanted to be a guitarist then. And then so I got probably good enough at a couple of riffs, good enough to know some chords, enough to impress probably like me trying to flirt with a girl in high school or something, to be really honest. And that was pretty much the extent of what I was going to do, I thought. And then I just focused on academics. And I ended up getting like a near full ride to college, which I guess university for y'all. And so I was just focused on that, and because my family was kind of like, just get to college, just get to college. And I had a natural propensity actually to want to make my elders proud versus like completely rebel against them. And so I did, and then I got to college, and then I was like, well, my whole life was figure out what to get to college, but I don't even know what I want to do because it became so suppressed that I still wanted to just be an artist and like do what I'm doing now. So I went, college was a weird time for me. I went to like a really, really prestigious school out here on the scholarship, and I felt like I was an outcast the entire time. It's where I kind of experimented, quote unquote, with a lot of things that expanded my consciousness. And so yeah, it was like Amsterdam. But and so it was there that during college that I developed the real passion and pronounced idea to myself that that's what I wanted to do, which was just go towards being an artist and do music or entertainment in general. But I wanted to start it off the foundation of music. And so I went to University of Reading for a semester. Bet y'all didn't know that.
No, we didn't.
In England. Yeah. I was an exchange student for a semester.
Wow.
And
Okay.
yeah, this is a really interesting bit of the whole journey. I was at a campus. It wasn't really a campus pub. It was a campus, just the cafeteria. But at University of Reading, it's like where there's in America a Minute Maid orange juice. You can get like beer and cider. It's crazy to me. It's really cool. But so we treated it like a pub. The American students did.
Yeah.
But we were there, and it was like, I want to say it might have been the same exact night that the Paris bombings had happened. I want to say that it was. If not, it was right around that time because that was when I was there. And it was like rugby getting played or something going on, like Rugby World Cup was going on during that time. And the memories blend a little bit. I think I drank every single day that I was in England. And not just a little bit. But we were like busting up 3 liters of Frosty Jacks left and right. I'll put it like that.
That's the student lifestyle. Yeah.
Frosty
And
Jacks.
long story short, yeah. Oh man, I can still remember.
It's bringing back memories
things
already.
I can't talk about. Yeah. Long story short, that night I bump into this girl on accident. Like I'm just really packed in there, and I just bump into her when I'm turning around. I turn around, I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and I guess I sound like not from there. And she wasn't either. She was this like Turkish German girl that was studying there. And she just like goes like, "Are you American?" is the first exact thing she asks me. I'm like, "Yeah." And then the very next question she goes, "Do you want to sing in my band?" And I was like, "Nice to meet you. What's your name?" I'm not even an artist. Like I don't do any of it. Like I don't. Yeah, I just a dreamer that, unbeknownst to her. And I just go, "Yeah. What are y'all singing?" And she's like, "We're a classic rock cover band, and we're just having fun with it, and we're playing the Kinks and the Beatles and the Doors." And I was just like, "Yeah," because I love all that stuff. Really love late 60s and 70s music, and love the whole British invasion pretty much of music back then, like obsessively. And so that was it. All of a sudden, I met this person, and I'm like singing, I guess. So we like rent out the studio and practice with a couple guys. One guy swear he looks like a young John Lennon. And then the other guy, I mean, really, it was like he looked 15 somehow. He was old
Yeah,
enough to be at uni, but
yeah.
he looked 15. Super, everybody was great. They were all super nice. To me, these are all things that I firmly believe personally that like were part of my calling to finding like your calling's gonna get you if you're open to it type thing. And those were like some of the moments and the key moment happened right there. But so we played this cover show at the Global Cafe in Reading, and maybe we played another. I can't remember, but I remember being so sheepish and nervous up there, and I was just like, and they just wanted me to sing. And I remember telling myself, I was like, if this goes terribly, Daniel, you get to fly across the Atlantic Ocean in like 2.5 weeks, dude. Just do it. So I did. And so yeah, I did it. And I remember in my brain, and I know there's a lot of variety. I know this, but in my brain, in general, the British don't have a hard time of being direct, which I actually really appreciate. So like right after the show, a couple of them came up and they just said, "You just, you need to be more confident." They just kind of put it like that to me, and I was just like, "Cool." That wasn't saying never get on stage again, and I was like, "I'll take that as a win." So I felt really good about it. I was like, "Cool, that was my first time, and I didn't get booed off the stage. That's nice." I know, and I remember always reading a story where it was like Bon Jovi's parents booed him off stage before he got big, on his first show. His
That's
own
harsh.
parents did. Yeah. So I came back and just like you could expect, crushed my parents' spirits with me going to one of the most prestigious schools and saying, "I'm going to be a musician." Because that's exactly what I was going to do. And that's what I realized. So I came back and they were like, "Wow, this is what a good liberal arts education did for the boy. Awesome." I'm sure they were wishing I was going to do something lucrative. And I don't blame them the older I get and the more I've been doing this. And now, just like you can usually imagine, they're very, well, dad passed, but before he passed, even very supportive. Mom, very supportive. So I like to dig in the ribs a little bit because just like any scared parent, they were just trying to protect me. And I think once they realized I was just already a pure heathen from school at the time, they're like, just find something. Just find something. So I came back. I joined this thing called the the Kentucky Folk Ensemble, and it was more like kind of a student led, or not student led, but student group at the school I was going to. And I played like my first song singing and playing a guitar in front of a crowd there. It was mainly our parents, but that was like kind of those were like training wheels moments for me. And then that was, I guess, like 2016 or 17. And then, so that was like all of a sudden, kind of things were maybe kind of going somewhere. But I was obviously dealing with a lot of anxiety and pressures of like, just my hand I was playing, and I'm like, this looks weird, and it's very unorthodox, and there's not really a path to follow footsteps in with what I'm doing. So I graduated. I didn't even want to do that, but I did. And because I was just so on fire for like, I'm gonna be an artist. And I did. And I'm glad I did. But yeah, graduated school, worked in town where I was there for a year after and saved up money, and then moved to Nashville. So I moved to Nashville in 2018 and I lived there until 2020. And then if this all seems boring and drawn out, it's like a book, I promise,
Yeah.
because
No.
I'm setting you context and then it's gonna get really lightning roddy special. Kind of crazy.
There is
And it
nothing
just
wrong with that
happened to
whatsoever.
me.
It's been incredible so far. Carry on.
Okay, cool.
Sitting there writing notes.
So, all right. So I moved down to Nashville and I moved in with some guys going to Belmont University, which is like the music school in the region of the US where I'm from. Uh, and renting out this room. Um, Trying to think what the important parts are. basically I go down there to tell myself I'm going to start doing music full time, like trying to find stages, work up a set, and all this stuff. I just end up partying like I'm in college, basically, for like 2 more years. That's pretty much what happened down there. And honestly, it wasn't even. It truly was more of because of how stressful it was to go down there with no ends, no connections. People, no disrespect to the people I was living with, but I thought they would be a little more. I thought it would be a little more supportive and converge on stuff. And it's nothing against them. We just all actually were way different, I think, than we realized in our goals. And I started growing a lot that time in terms of what I was going to want to do. And so I really just I had to start working like at least 2 jobs, sometimes 3 jobs, just to afford my rent down there because how expensive it was. And then a man's got needs, especially when he's like 22 and fresh out of college and super egotistical and dumb, like any young 22-year-old guy. And so my needs were like social validation, I'm sure. So I went and partied a shit ton, and it was a way to deal with the stress of working that much. So and then it was just a ton of self-design pressure and guilt, and you're a failure to yourself every day because I'm not doing what I wanted to do. So that was like what pretty much my whole time down there was, which I don't think's bad. I think it was a lot of learning. It was a lot of learning. But I was starting to kind of like go down a path that I don't know where I'd be today if I really feel like God intervened. So I'll just put it, so if God didn't intervene in my life, I don't know where I'd be if I stayed in Nashville right now. Like, I really don't. First year I lived out there with those guys. Second year I just got a place by myself out in like outer East Nashville. And like, it was kind of, I mean, it was just kind of hood. I don't know how else to say it. And so I was kind of hood. You just get it how you live. I don't know how else to say it. And it was just like, I mean, the first day I moved in, I moved into this like tiny place that should only be a one family house, and they turned it into a duplex. And the first day I was there, guy who moves in beside me, he was like, "Hey man, I just got out for 10 years. Let's be friends."
As you did.
And he was cool. Honestly, he was nice to me. He was good to me. I don't
Yeah.
no disrespect, but
Just as well.
real quick, he literally even said, he was like, "You're like my new cellmate, buddy." I was like, "All right, here we go." And that's for real, like how it was that second year. I was just like living out there. I had one of the OGs out there on the street, was like real cool. He always kind of took care of me, protected me. I was like, all right. So that's what I was doing for real for 2 years in Nashville from like 2018 to 2020. And then my life flipped upside down in 2020, like flipped upside down. And then that's where the current me was kind of born in a weird way. So yeah. So any questions before I move on to that?
No. I've got to say that is probably one of the best stories that I've heard, as in real
Yeah.
life, taking me through step by step. I ask that question a lot, and you sort of have to probe, and you sort of have to, go into it a bit more. But you've just shared everything possible with me. So
Yeah,
that's
I'm like,
it.
I'll just
I'm
tell
done.
you.
No,
It's like a movie, isn't it? I was
love it.
picturing
It's-
Frosty Jacks and
Yeah.
I
Reading.
mean,
I could also almost picture it in my head. When I was
yeah.
going through, I was like, "Oh, this is like one of them movies you get on a Saturday morning where they're following you with a camera, But anyway,
That's awesome.
there is one question, and it's a bit of a random one.
Yeah.
Now, between
Because I
the
feel like
ages,
I'm just trying to answer your question, but then I'm like, dude, Daniel, like, shut up.
no, don't shut up, because this is about you. You've got to keep talking. You want us to shut up afterwards. But in between that sort of 8 and 9 to, you went to Reading, you went to Nashville, everywhere. If you could give that part of your life a slogan, random one, I told you. If you could give it a slogan, what would it be?
Okay, if I could give what part? All of it?
Your education, your partying, you're going to Reading, you're, going to Nashville, all that part of that middle part of your life when you were just growing, if you like,
Yeah.
and experiencing, what would it be?
Soul searching. I mean, I don't know as a slogan, but like really a lot of it for me was like soul searching. Like, I just feel
Yeah,
like I was soul searching.
trying to
Yeah.
find you. And then, as you
Yeah,
said, you
100%.
realised that, whether it be something from God to say, you know, now this is your time to sort of move in, and TJ can cover that. But yeah,
Yeah, like
you've been
stepping into your
amazing.
own.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Amazing, and I can't thank you enough for sharing even the little details with us, because it was amazing. So Daniel, thank you. Now, before TJ wets himself, because I've taken
Wet
too much for your
myself.
time, I've taken too much of your time. I'm going to hand over to TJ. He's so excited.
Yeah. Well, and I'm telling you guys, 2020 is where everything really gets crazy.
There
So
you
I
go
still
then.
will tell you that.
Ooh, the next
But
chapter. Yeah.
that is the craziest part.
Chap-
I'm telling you.
Chapter 2.
Well, why don't we go into
Yeah.
chapter 2 now, before we
Yeah, do
go
it.
off on a random kind of tangent and then forget to come back to it, because I'm intrigued now. And I suppose a question for me, Daniel, mate, is I was trawling through your socials, because I'm a bit of a stalker like that with anyone that we have on, and I found pictures of you without the hair and without the beard, and I wonder, is it from those university days, that those kind of younger years pictures? You look very different, mate.
Yeah. So I've always felt like myself with my hair like this. That always felt like myself, weirdly enough. I wanted, and then it became a sign of rebellion for me. And that also even stems back from childhood. That's weird, but like I was a skater kid during like 8 years old to like 14, 15. It was like Viva La Bam era in life. And like I had two older sisters on, leaving MTV on. Like MTV was like
Yeah.
a terrible gospel for me to soak up as a kid, but it's what I was listening to. MTV and VH1. And I just like really wanted to grow my hair out. I always thought it was cool. And I watched the girls freak out for like Ryan Sheckler and Justin Bieber. And so I was like, I gotta have long hair. Just how boys be thinking. And so dad made me cut it though when I was like 11 or 12. And again, it was just one of those things where I don't know. If I would have raised me now, I look back and I would have been like, dude, I would have been pissed all the time. I was trying to raise this guy. Naturally a defiant person, very much questions any bit of authority. It's weird. It's honestly like kind of annoying to myself. I'm like, why can't I just like, oh, why does that do that? But naturally, yeah. So I always wanted to grow my hair because I felt like I wasn't allowed to. And yeah, so I went to, I think it was like the summer before I was going to go to Reading. I just decided I'm going to grow my hair out. And then I did. And then the thing is, I came back from England and I was just like so cocky and so conceited, for real. Because I think a lot of young dudes do. So I can say it like that because whatever, I forgive myself for it. Like, but there was a time where, like, senior year, I had just some kind of nervous breakdown, almost like a Britney moment. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna stay in school. I guess I'm gonna just graduate, and I'm just gonna. I mean, this was the punk in me at the time. I was like, I'm just gonna do it for mom. Like, whatever. You can just think of being a punk. And so one day, I just went and buzzed my head senior year of college, actually, and then I think I made a decision basically that I wasn't gonna keep running this really rebellious spirit that I was doing in college, and then I tried to live that out until 2020. And so literally January 1st, 2020, I was just like, I remember looking in the mirror one day and I just went, I'm just gonna grow my hair out again. And then 2020 started to happen. And then everything that happened to me, I know this sounds so stupid to probably anyone else listening, but that everything that happened in 2020 it would make me look in the mirror and confirm. I'm like, yeah, I'm growing my hair out again. I don't know, it sounded weird, and that's what happened. Yeah, I just grew it out. But
Well, you're lucky, mate. You
so
could
there's
pull
like a
off.
couple phases.
Yeah, you could pull off both looks, with the long hair, the short hair, beard or no beard. Unlike Ronnie, because Ronnie uses his beard like makeup, and if you take that beard away, he's catfishing a lot of people with that look.
That's hilarious.
It's
That's
not
funny.
great.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I've grown accustomed to thinking my beard and hair helps me, so it's nice to hear that because
I'm just jealous I can't grow one, so I have to be mean to Ronnie about his one. But yeah, let's talk about 2020 onwards, mate, because it sounds fascinating. So from that point to,
I can't keep up.
there's so much
you've
going
had
on.
so much. Tell me
Yeah.
more. Tell me more.
Right. Oh, I appreciate that. I think, honestly, I will say, I think everybody's had a very, 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 very rich life. I think sometimes people just don't even realize it. I mean, really, like I've been asked this question several times now, and it's probably one of the reasons, like I'm just saying, as humbly as possible, it really is probably one of the reasons I'm better to recollect than maybe somebody else. But I guarantee somebody's asking you all that several times throughout the past few years, you'll start reflecting a lot because you're going to go like, why am I here? What the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
And then, your life will tell you. So I appreciate it, but I don't think it's, I definitely don't think I've had more spectacular happening. I know people who have had way crazier shit happen to them, put it like that. But so 2020, I dated this girl in Nashville, and we broke up, and that was like I was going into 2020, and I don't know, like that one had bothered me at the time. And so I was already just kind of feeling like, I don't know, it's like when that trope or stereotype when they say like you break up with your girl, she dyes her hair and changes her wardrobe. It's like I was the one dyeing my hair and changing her wardrobe. No, I'm just kidding, kind of. But so 2020 was just this big snowball. I turned 25 in February of 2020. I looked at myself and I went, "You've been here for 2 years and you've literally not made a single step towards progress. You're actually like, what are you doing, dude? You're just living by your own pride and your own stubbornness," was like what I was telling myself. And I just didn't really have a lot of direction. And it was just weird. So I was just like, kind of felt like I was on my knees and just ready for signs. And that's kind of what, I don't know, 2020 is when I really started like listening to signs, like to just like move in my life. So yeah. So I hadn't been playing guitar a whole lot because I told you guys I've been working a lot and partying and just effing off for real. But I decided, I was like, I'm not gonna give up, because honestly, I'm like was probably like borderline, like, because if I give up, then I'm just like, I don't even want to live. Like that's just kind of where I was. And me and my dad at the time, I thought he hated me, so I hated him. I mean, that's like where I was at the time. And I probably, honestly, this interview is like the most raw I'm going to talk about that stuff yet, because he passed in 2021. So I was like so angry towards home for a lot of things. I was like in that, again, still super entitled young American dumbass, thinking that my life's not going the way I want it to because of everything else that happened to me, the way I was guided, the way I was not guided. I was blaming everything and already accepting some kind of defeat and already feeling too old. Like that's literally where I was. And I was like 24. Like what the hell? But yeah, that's just where I was. I don't know. I was hell of a brain on it. I don't know what. So I'm glad I can say that now, that it's like, what was I thinking, dude? But that's what I was thinking. And so things just started to happen. And I started picking up my guitar again as like a very, very, very strong intention that I'm like, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try to do music. Like I'm gonna really try to apply myself and put myself out there and make something worth a damn. And I didn't know what I wanted to start playing yet, but then Mac Miller, you guys know who Mac Miller was? He was a rapper from the
Yeah, so
US
the guy that
who
died quite young.
yeah.
Yes.
So he was one of my favorite artists when I was a teenager. And then he was like more like teenage party boy rap. And then it turned into, as he got famous, he became this incredibly thoughtful, deep artist. very much a visual, conceptual, like really deep thinking artist. And my life kind of went that way. I went, like I said, I went towards thinking about the questions that can't be answered a lot in college. And like I became obsessed with like Eastern philosophies and stuff like that, and blah blah blah. So his first posthumous single had come out right in that time, and it was a song called "Good News." And I remember telling myself, I'm like, I'm just gonna figure out how. I don't care how many days I have to wake up, because I was living so alone and by myself and didn't know what I was really gonna do in life, that I was like, I don't know what else to do. So I'm just going to learn this song. And if I can learn this one song to a maestro level of playing it that everybody thinks is great, that I think is great, then I know I can do anything. That was just a weird goal I set for myself, but I set it with that one. And so I started working on that. And that was kind of like starting to be my piece a little bit throughout the day. I mean, I would just put hours in trying to get better at guitar, and that kept being the anchor. Then February, my grandma on my mom's side passes from cancer. So it brings me back to Kentucky. And then I go back, and it's winter in Nashville, and I'm by myself, and it's just all these things. It's just, that's all I can remember. It's just this weird, foggy era right when that year started, and just knowing I don't know what's going to happen. 2 weeks after that, it's March 2nd or March 3rd, 2020. I almost get killed by a tornado. And that's where things really start to go like crazy. So, yeah, there was a surprise tornado. There was not even a like warning for severe weather that night. I'm sitting in my studio. I've got my bass plugged in to this like audio interface. I'm smoking. I've got a buddy over there watching NBA and on his laptop. And we got this other friend who's just like passed out on the futon. And I'm about ready to go to bed. It's like 1 a.m. And I'm like, so I'm about to go like kick everybody out. So I like how do I nicely kick my friends out is walk out of the room, walk around for a second, walk back in and go, all right, guys, I think I'm gonna go to bed. So that's what I was about to do. And we were in my studio room. So I had like my windows sealed off with like flags so that like sound wouldn't get all bouncy on the glass and whatnot. So you couldn't see outside. So I get up to go do that. And as soon as I'm getting up, my phone starts going off like crazy. Like, I'm just like, what is going on? Is my phone about to explode? And it's got this national weather alert emergency system thing, alert, blah, blah, blah. And it just straight up says in all caps, there's a deadly tornado in using geolocation data, whatever it says, is like in direct path. You got T-minus like 2 minutes to like not try to die. And it literally was, and as soon as I'm reading it, I'm like, what? And I just start saying, yo, to them. And I'm like trying to run to like, I don't know what to do. I've never been in that situation. I always remember being told you're going to hear like train whistles is what it sounds like when it's close. And I don't know why I thought this was a good idea, but I was like, I better go make sure I lock all these windows. That apparently doesn't do damn thing. So by the time I'm like to the second window trying to do it, I start hearing that train whistle sound. And I'm like, oh my God, we're actually about to get hit by this. What? A deadly tornado. What? I mean, no one knew there was going to be severe weather. I mean, seriously, no one. There was no call for it. There's no forecasting on it. I mean, you can look it up right now on YouTube and it'll say like, that's how they talk about that day in Nashville. Like the severe tornado that no one knew about ripped through the city. So I start yelling at my two friends to like get in the bathtub. And that's only like, it's this tiny house I was telling you all about. My one friend, I can remember her saying, she was like, I survived Hurricane Katrina. I ain't worried about that shit. And I just was like, you're getting in the tub. I don't care if you survived Hurricane Katrina. And so they get in there straight up, and I like jump into the bathroom, close the door, and like by the time all I know is like I'm in survival mode. My hands on their necks, and I'm screaming prayers I don't even know. I mean, I'm just singing the Hail Mary, and I'm like, I think it goes like this. and then like that tornado starts ripping through, and it smacks our house, or my house, and rips off like half the roof, and the wind vacuum sucks in the windows and the door. And yeah, I mean, luckily we survived, but the next house over was literally splintered. And we lived. And that was one of the craziest moments about this whole thing that still to this day has changed everything for the way I live, because it was a pure near-death experience. So that was just March 3rd. So then, all right, so like just speeding past that, I get displaced from the house, obviously. I can't, my job, okay, so then 10 days later, COVID starts, and all the jobs get shut down. So all of a sudden, I was working at Apple, and I was part of the Genius Bar, and working on people's phones, more like being pressured to sell them a new phone they don't need. And yeah, deceptive marketing for sure. But I mean, I still use it, but you guys got a good product, man. I don't know what to tell y'all, but that's hilarious. But so all of a sudden I'm displaced from the house. I can't even afford to pay the rent on the house I can't even live in at the time, because when we can't work, I was like relying on picking up people's shifts, and then I was serving tables. Well, you can't go serve tables, so no tips. No policies have gotten instituted to like help with any finances yet. So it was just like, what is going on? And then so that was all within like 1 month. Was just like, I'm already big sulky whatever. Then I almost die. Then we all almost maybe die. Who knows what's about to happen? And then so I'm like kind of displaced, hopping around at friends' houses, and then in April, I'm back in my house. We got like the roof fixed up and whatnot. And I'm sitting with a couple homies, and I get this call from my mom. And like, super long story short, I walk outside. She says, your dad's got cancer, and it doesn't seem to be a good one. And we already knew he was the type to not go to the doctor. He'd be like, maybe cuss you out if you told him he should, So it was like, all right, I can't force a man to do it. You can't force a man to drink water. And so I knew it was got to be that. His skin had basically already become like red and flaky, and it turned out to be this like really awful rare cancer that only like 300 cases in the US a year. Like no cure. It's called, just some bullshit. And so I remember like my eyes, just like the whole world just went grayscale right after she told me that. And I was telling you, we had like a pretty difficult relationship at the time. And man, it was those two things, the tornado, COVID, and then that like my entire life, like I don't know, man. It was like, have y'all heard of the song Way of the Triune God by Tyler Childers?
Yeah, love it.
Yeah. And he's like, he says God reached down and took my hand, shook him straight, and gave him a stern talking to. That moment felt like that to me. That's why I love that song so much, because I'm like, yeah, God did that to me too. And it was like, I don't know, man. It was like overnight, I was filled with like this purpose that I'd never had, been searching for my whole life. And it didn't turn into being, I'm going to go be a musician just yet. It just became, all right, F your feelings, Daniel. Be a man. Go home. There's nothing for you here in Nashville. The only people that really matter to you, one of them's about to go. And you guys haven't used that time very well yet, because it sounds like you've both been assuming you'd have a lot more time. So I just decided I was going to move back to Kentucky, and that's what I did. By July, I moved to Kentucky off a Craigslist ad to Lexington. Found this like another pretty sketchy spot because I didn't go look at it and just got it off a Craigslist ad. But I moved up to Lexington and lived there for 2 years. And yeah, so, and then between then, I actually had another near death. I had 2 more near death experiences within that year.
Oh,
I
God.
promise you. Birthday, yeah.
I don't know why blooms are coming.
That's
That's bad timing.
Yeah,
Really bad
really
timing.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
And I don't say any of this to say woe is me, by the way. None
No,
of this
no.
is to sulk at all. This is actually, I'm standing on the other side.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a story of triumphs in a lot of ways, and I'm still hungry, and I have my purpose, and I got my life, and it is what it is. So I want to make that super clear. But yeah, I got like when COVID had shut down in Nashville, I started going out to Percy Priest Lake, and it's this big old Pebble Beach man-made lake that you can go hang out at, built by the Army Corps of Engineers, probably way back in the early 1900s, and it was like the place to go because you shouldn't even breathe the air around people, apparently. You know, no one knows what's going on at the time. I don't think people still know what's going on. But I ended up hanging out at the beach all day for a while, and like I got like terrible bites by ticks. I got a bunch of tick bites. And then I got like 2 of them were like bullseyes. And I'm pretty sure that's like what means you get like Lyme disease or something like that. And then really quick, I got deathly ill. I lost like 20 something pounds within a couple weeks. And the doctors were like, COVID's going on. Basically, we can't even see you almost over stuff. And they did a blood test on me basically to see if I was like dying of AIDS or something, you know, first, because they're like, well, I don't know, you look terrible. And then this isn't explainable. And they did the blood panel. And they never confirmed what I had, but they thought I had Rocky Mountain spotted fever or some kind of bad tick-borne illness. So,
Wow.
because none of the tests showed that I had anything. But, or they said it was a weird expression of COVID. That's the only thing they could also think at the time. So that was crazy. Then I finally moved back home. And then me and Dad, all of a sudden, you know, Dad's like, got this like weird surge of energy. I think it's like this thing that happens when people get cancer, and start hanging out with him a whole lot, and he's a lot nicer to me, and I'm being a lot nicer too. And that's how things should go. So I'm really thankful we had those times. But yeah, we started picking some guitar, and there's a video actually on my page of me and him picking wildwood flower on the back porch, and I was showing him like how I'm getting it down, which is an old bluegrass standard if you didn't know. And Dad like just looks at me and he's like, "Damn, son, why ain't you worked up a set yet?" Like talking about why won't I go play music out? Which my brain went, I'll give you my whole life story as to why I haven't. But no, but right there it was like a true flip switch right there that my dad wanted to watch me go do it now. And that's like goes back to me saying like I just had this. Some people don't care. Some people are born and they just are like, I don't care. Even in my like times of being mad at them, I thought it's because I couldn't get their approval no matter what I was doing in life. That's what made me so mad. But right there, I felt like that's all I needed. So like I felt like it was my mission to help him live vicariously through me as I started to play music, which very much influenced why you all have heard me as more of a country centric artist. He was very much, you know, he's born in 63. His dad was born in 37. Early Americana, bluegrass country, grew up on all that, played all that older stuff. So I just thought that's what I would start working on and then that's what I did. So I worked up a first set. I got several songs down, got to an open mic. The first open mic, the owner of the venue, took notice of me. He asked who I was. He said, "You're playing some cool stuff. We're more like real electric honky tonk stuff, but you should go to this place. We think they'd love the kind of stuff you're playing." I go there. That becomes the Twisted Cork, or is the Twisted Cork, which becomes my first venue. It's where I met Greg Adams. It's where I met a ton of people who really helped me on my way. And so that first open mic led to that one. The second open mic led to the person there letting me open for, it was Whitney and Ray. And they let me open for them that next week at their show. Then that led to me getting my first show. And then that show led to my second venue. And then the second venue led to me playing with the other. I mean, and truly it was like that. And all of a sudden, like, my life was unrecognizable to everything completely. And there's other details, obviously. I wasn't making money at first, so I was doing stuff like that. But like, to give you the huge gist, it was like there's your whole life, and then there's just like a couple seasons where like circumstances like shaped everything. And then dad got to watch me play several shows. He got too ill pretty much to leave the house 4 to 6 months before he passed. So, I got to spend a good year with him before he got too ill to really want to get out of the house. And then he ended up passing in December of 21. And that was where my other near-death experience happened. The third one. I got COVID, the Delta variant, in July of 21, maybe August or something like that. And I'm just going to tell you guys what it is that happened in my life. People freak out over what people think about this shit. This is exactly what happened to me. And I'm just going to say what happened, and I'm not going to tell you what I think, because people get too dicey about it. But the day I got this ill, and I'll tell you how ill I got, was the day I got a vaccine. And I'm just going to say that. That's the facts. There's no opinion for me to give you.
Yeah.
Maybe, because then I know people go, well, maybe this was yeah, I don't know. That's what happened. And that's all I know, was I got the vaccine. And that night, I went out to Burl, watched Brent Cobb and Nikki Lane kill it. It was a badass night. Went to bed totally fine. And I woke up at 3:30 a.m. with a fever of like 103.5. Could not move. And my fever didn't drop below 100 for like 16 days straight. And I lost again like another 20 something pounds. Like, I was deathly ill. My O2 went down into the 80s, my oxygen percentage. Like, it was crazy. They literally, like, my family thought we didn't know if you were going to be one of the 0.0001% of the young people that just die. And then meanwhile, dad was dying, literally. And so one cool thing I'll say for his sake was super cool, and I keep it in my truck, my glove box every day, is I got so ill, it was like the 15th day or something like that, that my dad, who was like, I don't know how else to say it, he was genuinely rotting away, shouldn't have even done any of this. He got up, drove all the way from our hometown, an hour north to Lexington, and in my door, he left a handwritten note that just says, like, Daniel, I love you very much. You're going to get through this. Be strong. God loves you. Dad. And he was just a tough dude, like tough dude. And like, not lovey, you know what I mean? And he was so sick, and he got up and did that. And I swear, I just like that. I feel like it helped me recover. It was like 2 days later, I finally broke the fever, started coming back to myself. But it was like, it felt like one of them like Little House on the Prairie type sicknesses. I was like, oh, this is what it is when you see the cowboy just laying in bed for 2 weeks. Like, so, yeah, man. And then he passed, and I was so sick. Then I was so obviously depressed because he was passing. So I had to cancel this was the first time playing shows I ever had to cancel shows. So I canceled a big spree of shows, waited around for dad to pass for real. And then I just had like a weird crossroads moment if I was going to even play music after that, or if I was just doing it for dad, like that way. But it did become my whole life. And obviously now I can see it in many other ways. It's what I want to do. But I really, like, this is a weird time. You don't know how to feel about anything. I didn't know if it was selfish of me to want to keep playing music after. I just had a lot of feelings like that. So, long story short, actually none of this has been short, but long story. I ended up choosing to keep playing, and I took like 3 months off. I went silent on my socials, and then I came back and said, here's what happened. Dad passed, or is about to, but I decided I was going to keep playing music, actually, as a way to keep him close to me. And that's what I've kept doing for real. And honestly, direction has been less clear ever since. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's just the natural thing. But ever since then, it's like, so what else in life? It's like, well, I was lucky to find my wife, and now I've gotten married. That's a great thing. Um, been learning how to be an adult and not be such that selfish prick that I was when I was 22, you know. But other than that, man, it's like that was the story since the beginning of 2022. My life's been nothing more than just trying to actually like build my skills, get out here and earn it. So that's the story.
Wow. I don't think we've ever been speechless.
I am absolutely blown away. I'll be
Yeah.
totally honest. Just, I mean, well, TJ just said it. I mean, throughout that entire time, and what you've done, and to keep going with that mindset is a massive accomplishment. So unreal, and thank you for sharing it with
Thank
us.
you, man. I appreciate that. And like I said, dude, I know I really want to make sure y'all know, like, uh, it's it's a long story, you know, and you guys are interested, and I tell you because of that. Otherwise, I'm really not out here trying to like put myself on
No,
any kind of like
but
thing.
every part of that is a reason for what you're doing now. Every part of that is part of you now. That's made you, and that's what we're so grateful for. To be honest, you know,
Yeah.
although it's bad times, but it's built you to where you are now and what you're doing. Yeah. So
Well,
I'm
I'm
good.
thankful because I'm meeting awesome guys like y'all for real. Like, you know, it is cool. I mean, I wouldn't probably know you guys if my life didn't turn out the way it has. It's
Yeah.
just like one of them things.
There's so many like sliding door moments, as I kind of put it, for everyone's lives, and it's interesting to kind of hear how yours has panned out. But it's so lovely that you got to spend that time with your dad towards the end, and I think that's it's an amazing story, mate, and really appreciate you sharing that with us. You know, it's something that's really raw to you and really personal. So thank you, mate. We really appreciate you sharing that story. And it's good to get to know you on that level as well, because we've obviously had drinks and we've had the odd chat, but to properly get to know you as a person, I think it's amazing, mate. So yeah, thanks again.
Thank you, man.
But yeah, so kind of going on a bit further. So you talked about the Twisted Cork and meeting some awesome musicians and kind of developing yourself in that way. I mean, we were properly kind of introduced in person. I think you guys were pretty much hungover from the previous night when I met you guys in Stafford. I'm pretty sure you were in Little Nashville in London the night before, and we couldn't make that one. But
I was trying to get down there, and I just couldn't. Yeah, gutted.
So I think you
We
were
were
suffering.
hungover and buzzed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I was like 2 minutes into kind of turning up at the venue, and I think we already had a few shots and a beer and a few cigarettes in the garden, and having a good old time. And I felt very privileged because it was you were there with Hunter Flynn and Lance Rogers, and it was a real
yeah.
kind of quietish night. It was a weird venue to say the least. It's a new venue I think Kat's trying to kind of check out. But it was for the Love of Appalachia tour, which Ronnie has real issues saying. He always thinks it's
I
for the love
knew
of
you were going to say
alopecia. So
Why,
I always have to
why
say
did
it.
you have to do that? Yeah.
But I
What
love that.
what was it? Appalachia? Is that what you were saying?
No, I can't. I have to read it off a bit of paper because I can never say it. I say Alapacha.
Alopecia.
I'm trying to
Alapacha.
I can never say
Sounds
it.
pretty
Or
cool. Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. Sorry. Anyway, we'll go there.
Alopecia. I think that's when your like hair falls out.
One of them. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what Ronnie's getting. It's probably why he keeps saying it.
Oh.
It's old age, mate. But anyway, I had a lovely time. Everyone else did at that particular night.
Are you sure?
Well, yeah, I found
Because every time you have a good time, nobody else does.
it's just the way things
Sorry,
go,
anyway,
mate.
Gareth.
But yeah, we even got a little interview in the garden where
Yeah,
you were.
that one was funny.
It
That
was
was
good.
hilarious.
I just remember pressing record and sitting down, and I think the first thing that came out of Hunter's mouth was, because I said, "Oh, you could say anything on this show." And he goes, "What, even cunt?" I was like, "If you want to say that, it's, I don't know what relevance it's got."
He did. He said proper.
He's a proper dude, but I just found it hilarious, mate. But so I think for people listening and wanting to know more about what you guys are doing for the love of Appalachia, how did that kind of come about for you personally to get involved with the guys and to come to the UK? Because it's a big thing, coming over as a kind of touring musician anyway, but to kind of start at a grassroots level, it's really interesting. So how did that go about, mate?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember exactly. A huge general part of it is Lance Rogers for sure. I mean, he's truly like a Daniel Boone of like what we're doing out here. He has been blazing trails, kicking indoors for a few years now, and just like making his own path. He really has, and that's pretty sure the real origin of how I ended up tailored into all of this. Me and Hunter was Lance started to take interest and likewise in him. We just became friends. Let me say it like that as artists pretty early on, 2020, maybe 2021. For really might have been one of the first people I met along the way. Same with Hunter. That summer I met him, and Lance took me out in 2022 out of state for my first gig. I went with Lance to go play out of state, out of Kentucky. We went down to Charlotte, North Carolina, and played at this place called the Thirsty Beaver Saloon. Google place. There's actually a picture where Mick Jagger is like supposed to play that night, and he goes out there and takes a picture in front of it smoking a cigarette, and it made it like famous.
Awesome.
Mick Jagger, Yeah. And then me, Hunter, Greg, and Lance, we all went out west to Illinois, played a few shows that same summer, I think. And so we just had some rapport built as friends who were pursuing similar things for different reasons. But Lance goes out to England by himself. I don't know if it's exactly through Cat or with Cat, or maybe that's where he meets Cat. I can't remember this. And when I say Cat, I mean Cat Deeds of Katie Music Media and For the Love of Appalachia.
Yeah.
And yeah, thanks. They're paying me. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. But and yeah, so they went out there and I think they had a great time and they wanted to do it again. And I think that might have, I don't know which came first, but somehow that's where For the Love of Appalachia originates, through Cat, through Lance collaborating. And for the flagship tour, Lance really wanted to bring me and Hunter out, I think, because of probably like prior rapport built, and we're all just like, obviously people have already, like, it's already a no-brainer that people know that they like to see us together. It's a complimentary bill. And yeah, and Kat really liked the music too. And that's kind of how, I mean, really, it was just Lance hit me up one day, hit Hunter up. We both said, heck yeah. And
Why not?
And then got to think we had a ton of sponsors that really helped make it possible too. I don't have a list of them all right now, but a lot of sponsors along the way that wanted to be a part of it, and they made it possible. And I think they still are. So
yeah, there's a lot of good dudes that sponsored it. I think our guys on Texas to Tennessee was part of that as well. Soul Gravy, it's one of our good pals. But yeah, it was really interesting to kind of see you guys come over. What would you consider to be the standout moment, or even if it's just a kind of funny thing that happened? What kind of thing that do you recall from that time?
I got three things. The first one was we got to play the Cavern Club. That was really cool. I was just a Beatles nerd growing up. And that was just really cool. I don't know. I always remember seeing pictures of the Cavern Club with them like looking like Elvis and thinking how cool it would be to go play the Cavern Club one day. Like that was a bucket list moment for real. Second would be the Little Nashville show was super peak. It was awesome, and it made me really like get a taste for like playing in a place like London. I feel like it was just really cool. There's a real thing where every single crowd's unique, so their energy is unique, and for me at the very least, and I think it's a lot of artists, it creates a unique transfer of energy with how you perform, and it just felt like incredible drugs in front of that crowd that night. It just like me playing, just it felt insane. I was like, God, I want to feel this every time I'm on stage.
Yeah, London, up yours, North. Yeah.
It was an electric atmosphere. I mean, like they were raving for it. It was just really cool. It just felt like really cool. I don't know. And then the other one was actually in Baller Wells. We played Story Beer and Wine, little microbrewery venue, listening room, and it sold out. And as well, but it was a completely silent listening room, which produced an incredibly different energy for us on stage. So that was like a pure yin and yang. Both sold out, but purely different energies, and they both just felt really, really amazing. Those shows. So like that was really cool getting to play for crowds. The fact that we were selling out crowds in England and Wales was, I mean, we were beside ourselves. You know, it was my first time ever doing anything like that. I don't count me at Global Cafe standing in front of a mic real sheepishly and trying to sing a Doors song as you know, as a show out there. So for me, this was like my first shows, and to go out there and do that, and that was really awesome. I really loved kiwi pie as well. Kiwi pie. Martin, our host, his mom made a kiwi pie, and I really like mint sauce. That was really good too.
That leads me on to my next question, actually, mate, or statement even, because I see how much you guys kind of submerge yourself into the British culture, and you particular with your colloquialisms. You know, you come up with some great words. You know, did your wife understand your new accent, your new British accent, when you went back home?
A little bit, because I was talking to her on the phone a couple nights like that. I'd be pretty buzzed at the end of the night. Like Sharon. Yeah, I was messing with her pretty good on that. So I forgot my very favorite thing about all of the United Kingdom. Tunnock's tea cakes.
Oh,
Tunnock's tea cakes.
That's a Scottish thing, isn't it? I'm pretty sure that's a Scottish thing. Yeah. So that was your favorite kind of snack over here?
It became an obsession. I ate like 5 boxes. And then I took like 2. I took 2 back home, and it was just like prizing them. They were so rich. It was just so good. I don't know. It was so good.
Well, when you come back over, we'll have to take you for some proper London pie mash and liquor. Have you ever had pie mash and liquor?
I don't think so.
You're missing a trick. I'm telling you. Pie mash and liquor is the way forward. And to really push the boat out, jelly deals. Jelly deals. Oh,
yeah,
I'll tell you.
No one actually likes it here, but it sounds good and it sounds British. But it's
I did not like black pudding.
Oh, I love black pudding.
I love white pudding's even better.
I will say this though, I might have ate it wrong, because I've heard now that you thinly slice it and put an egg on it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just
have it with 10 tomatoes.
Martin just gave us like a sausage link of it like this, and I just picked it up and took a huge bite out.
Oh no. Oh god, no.
Yeah, that's not the one.
So that might be why.
Got to dip it in baked beans as well, mate. That's when you're truly submerged.
Yeah. Tin plum tomatoes is the way forward.
Oh, you're making me hungry now. Right.
Yeah, you guys are making me hungry too. I was like, this sounds pretty good.
Moving on anyway.
Yeah, I've got a couple more questions, and I'm going to hand over to Ronnie, because I feel like I've been talking for ages here. But yeah, it was awesome seeing you guys over here, and I think it was just something truly unique. And like you say, with Lance kind of paving that way, I'm just interested to see how it pans out this year, next year, going forwards, and because it's going to be something incredible, and people want to get involved with it. But yeah, I suppose one thing we haven't really talked about is your music. Funny enough, we talked about how you kind of got into it and where you came about, and you know, in the lead up to anyone coming on the show, me and Ronnie kind of deep dive and listen to all the songs, and you know, it makes me laugh, the story that Kat tells me about Josh Mitchum's favorite song being Copperhead, probably because she played it 3,000 times. So I don't think he had much of a choice. Yeah, but yeah, Ronnie was listening to it as well, and he goes, "That's a bit of me."
That's a bit of me. It is, yeah. There's several that are a bit of me, but that one especially.
What's that mean? I'm not sure on that term.
So a bit of me is like, I love that one. That's I can relate. Cool. I can relate to that. That's what I would go to. I'd listen to, and I'd blast out in my truck driving down the road to work.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Oh well, awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it sounds good, and I can hear, you know, there's a lot of outlaw country for anyone wanting to get involved in Daniel's music. The grunge influences are there for sure. My personal favorite was Time to Go. Love that one. And is that one of yours?
Something we've only got one in common.
Oh well, there you go. And then I was thinking earlier, because I thought it just sounds like I know it seems cliche, but like a soundtrack to a movie or a series. And I thought, what could I hear that in? And did you ever see the series Justified with Timothy Olyphant? I think that was filmed in Kentucky, or it's Kentucky based. And
I haven't, but I believe Sarah has, and I've definitely heard of a lot of people loving that show.
I'm a geek for that, but I can hear it and stuff like that, man, and it's got that kind of cinematic vibe. So yeah, anyone wanting to kind of
appreciate that,
dig into it, you've got a few on Spotify, and you've got the EP that was more recently recorded. It just sounds fantastic, mate. So have you got anything else kind of recorded at the moment? Anything else that you're doing?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna let you know. I've got like so much, almost half of my show is probably just unreleased stuff that I play right now, because I've just been writing and playing, and that's it. And so I don't have dates to tell you or anything, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of music getting cooked up. I really like leaning into the grunginess of things, so it's a lot of it's leaning in more even that way. And there's like a couple songs I'm really excited about right now that I just can't wait to release. But there's also, I can't guarantee you guys anything right until it happens, but good chance that I'll be back in England next year.
Ooh, spilling the beans, I see.
I will be seeing you then.
Although I'm not sure, I'm a bit worried about hanging around with Daniel too much. The amount of near-death experiences he's had, I think.
Listen, I haven't had.
I'm on the edge. I'm ready to go.
There you go. It's been a while, I will say. I honestly, I kind of think it's like I haven't really gotten sick from COVID since that one time, because I'm like, I bet my immune system is like an ox now. And
Daniel, you hang around with me long enough and you'll have COVID more times than you can count on your fingers. I've been there, done it, flown a flag and worn a t-shirt. Yeah.
Well, Ronnie, I'm going to hand over to you, mate, because why not?
I was just making some notes actually of what you were just saying, so I wasn't ignoring you. But there's a couple of things that I wanted to ask you, we've missed your game. I thought you were going to do a game today, TJ.
No, it's coming up. You've ruined a surprise.
Oh well, it's not a surprise now anyway. So ruined. So we started a playlist a million years ago. Well, TJ started a playlist because he does all the magical technical stuff. He's a whiz at that sort of stuff. But we've asked every artist that are here that have joined us what 2 songs that we should add to our playlist that reflects your work, so that our listeners can check you out and understand what we're talking about now.
Cool. 2 songs, and you want me to choose?
Only 2. because I've got in
gosh.
trouble the last 4 artists that we've interviewed and given songs out left, right, and centre. So
And
I've been
you're not very good at
told-
explaining it either. So it's got to be your songs that you've recorded. Yeah, and two.
Have I not just said that?
Sometimes you don't explain things very well, so I have to chime in. Anyway, we'll stop bickering
Move
like a
on.
pair of old
Yeah.
women. Yeah.
Can I let you guys choose between one of the two for one of them?
Yeah.
Which, because I don't want to say Copperhead and Time to Go, but one of those will be one of them. So you guys get to choose between that, Copperhead or Time to Go. Maybe I'll just start another fight. I don't know. But,
Yeah, as long as I can fight him for it, it's fine. I'll win.
And then I guess I'm thinking either Fall or Get Away on the other one. Fall's like this acoustic love song, very different from the rest. Get Away and Fall and Get Away are both. The reason I'm saying those, if you're like, why is he being this difficult? Fall and Get Away are off my acoustic EP, so it's just me and my guitar, and like the birds you hear in the background are like real birds just chirping in the background. So I like that. It's just the unplugged, just as raw as it gets. No, nothing. I mean, it's just like me and that and the mic and the guitar. And then the other two are studio cuts. So, it's a lot of, the whole band in there and a really clean mic and a really controlled audio room. So I'd say either of those. I'll let you guys choose. I hate to choose.
Yeah, we'll have a little discussion afterwards. Otherwise, we'll be on here all night
Nice.
having a row. So I just
But thank you. That's cool.
No.
I like that.
No, thank you. My next question is about is personal to you again. Is around if you can tell us your best album or single that you've heard in the last 10 years. And we've changed this up a bit. 5 years, 10 years. I'm going to say 10 years.
Released in the last 5 to 10?
No, the best that you've listened to. So the best one that you would go to and you say, right, I've listened to that. I love it. It's amazing.
And it got released since 10 years
Yeah,
ago?
10 years ago.
Okay, so it's at the oldest, the record's 10 years old, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. The whole record? Because that'll help me choose.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
just a song.
Let's go. Yes. Do what you like.
Oh man, 10 years is a long time.
It is.
Maybe I should make it 5.
Let's do 5. Let's go.
Right.
for
Let's
5.
do 5.
First people to come to me when you say 5 years, because that would be since 2020. Probably the Red Clay Strays. You guys listen to them? You guys listen to them?
Yeah, we were trying to get tickets recently for them because they're playing in the UK imminently. I would love to see
incredible.
them.
I got to see them only like 5 rows back last year at Laurel Cove Music Festival. It was
Wow.
so awesome. I'll say them because they have absolutely excited. When they started to excite me, they excited me like no other group or artist has ever excited me. Like in terms of like me feeling like, I don't know, like I was just fan from day one on them. That's what I would say is probably the best in the 5 years. 10 years, that opens it up. I don't know. I've grown and changed a whole lot. Yeah. 30, I was 20.
We've got it.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
And then we'll say the actual record that is the Made by These Moments record, the one that came out last year.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Killer record. What about y'all? I'm curious about y'all.
What's yours, Ronnie?
This isn't about us.
Ronnie doesn't know. I could tell you
good.
mine.
I've got lots actually, but mine's very old school, whereas TJ's very like Barbie Girl and all that sort of stuff. So in the last 10 years.
Ronnie's the expert when it comes to classic country and old stuff. See, I'm not so well versed, but for me, the last 10, 15 years, Tyler Childers for sure.
He was the guy I was struggling with.
Yeah, he is so good. That kind of really got me back into things. Flatland Cavalry's stuff has resonated in the last 5 years. And the Jesse Williams band within the last year. I keep banging on about Jesse Williams in a
Yeah,
way that she's probably
you have. Yeah,
weirded out by me so much. But
yeah.
I
It
think
was
that
awesome.
might be from you all's where I found that, and I think that stuff's killer.
Yeah,
oh, it's
her
so
new,
That stuff.
especially the new one of the new songs that she just released is unreal. I've listened to it so many times, but yeah, old school for me. I would definitely say um, this is well past 10 years. Well, actually, no. I'm going to say Adam Hood, who we've actually had on here as an
Ooh,
artist,
love Adam Hood.
2018, The Shape of Things, the album that he released,
Yes, beautiful
unbelievable,
album.
just unbelievable. New
I
Elm
listen.
Blues,
I
unreal.
jam that Deep Ellum Blues song. Come
Yeah,
on, Sarah
yeah,
Alice,
yeah. I
let me be your man
honestly, if
tonight.
I'm having a bad day, I put that on. I'd open all the windows in the truck that I can. I play it the loudest I can, and it just makes you have the most amazing day afterwards, doesn't it? So yeah, there we go.
Hey,
Same as you,
is that
Daniel.
not one of the best lines? I got a pocket full of money making my
Yeah,
pants too tight. That makes me go like,
yes,
I just want to flex
yeah,
after that.
I want to see you play that live next time, mate.
yeah,
Some
yeah.
Deep
All right,
Ellum
I might
Blues,
work
man.
that one up then. That'd be cool.
That would be
And then
awesome.
just to add on to that album, because it's one of the songs that just blows me away all the time, is Once They're Gone. And that
Oh
has
yeah,
touched me more times you can imagine, let me tell you, but
yeah.
unbelievable. So yeah, how'd you like that, TJ? Um,
I got to
but
throw in Sturgill Simpson too. He's
oh yeah,
I can't not
absolutely, yeah.
mention
We went
Sturgill.
to we went to go and see him actually.
We did,
Oh, that's
yeah.
awesome.
I almost forgot about
And
that.
yeah, TJ was a little bit inebriated and fell up the stairs. um,
Frosty Jacks.
in the concert.
Up the stairs.
So yeah, up the stairs with 2 drinks in his hands, including mine. So
Oh,
I
that's
just thought I'd
hilarious.
remind him about that because I don't explain things so well, apparently. Anyway,
Yeah.
Daniel, more about you. Let's go back to you. So,
Let's do it.
as you know, the Rugged Revival, we like to say, is a community, right? And what we try to do is get artists on, emerging talent on here that we can sort of give a shove or a push in the right direction to say, look, this is your voice. This is about you. This is all about you, where you've come from, what you've done, and where you're going. And we like to identify emerging talent, emerging artists, and we love to bring them on to come and talk to them. So have you seen, personally, have you seen any emerging talent or artists that you would like to give a shout on here and say, do you know what? Have a look, see where they are. Maybe, let's go and see if they want to come on.
Yeah. That's a really good question. I feel like I'm surrounded by a lot of emerging talent all the time. First name to come to mind to me that I want to say to you guys is a guy named Dale Blankenship. Have you heard that name yet? I
No.
just played a couple
Yeah.
shows with him. I just had a weekend of shows with him. 2 weeks ago, maybe it was last week. But he's really great. He's at a small town out of Ohio, but along the Appalachians, and man, I just think he's got a killer heart. I can already tell. I like the way he looks at things personally. Um, and he's got this 5-song EP he's come out with called Strange, and it's just I think it's clever. I think it's really good, and I have a really good feeling about where he's going to end up, regardless if I tell you anything or not. But he's definitely emerging right now, so I would say check him out.
Amazing. Definitely go and check him out, and we certainly will. I know TJ's probably already done that because he's been nodding away. But I'll definitely go and check him out and see. So yeah, thank you for that. So I've only got 2 or 3 more questions I want to ask you. One is around emerging talent, emerging artists that you see looking back on your time from where you've come from, what you've done in your music career and where it's going. Is there any advice or guidance you would give to any emerging talent or emerging artists?
I mean, I want to start that answer by saying I myself am very much still emerging at best. I don't ever want to be out here being like, I know better and I don't, right? I also will say I don't have answers. I only have thoughts. That's the way
Yeah.
I like to try to stay out of trouble. But not with you guys, but people they will bring a hatchet to anything, man. I mean, side note, I just made a post the other day saying like I want a health-based eatery where I live, and like I could just tell I was like fringing on some people. It's like, I'm just on my personal page. You cannot say anything and not piss people off. But
Yeah.
You are so controversial, man. How dare you say stuff?
right? Yeah, that long haired. He's left-handed. Burn him. It's like a witch. But I would say, I mean, there's a lot of things I would say, really. I would say, I don't know. Let me think on it for 10 seconds and we can just edit it out if you guys need to. But I don't want to just blab an answer. What would I give to emerging? Okay, because I'm going off how I'm feeling right now, I would say lean into every feeling that you have along the way instead of running from the ones you're scared what people will think. Yeah. So as an artist, and I'm saying like when it comes to creating in your craft and writing, whatever you're probably scared to say is probably the thing that's actually going to be like worth saying. And I'm saying this as a guy who's struggled with it myself. So like, that's what I would say. I'd say lean into it because that's what I'm telling myself right now is lean into the things that you don't want to always have to talk about, but like it's probably the thing that means something. So the other thing, if I was just going to say anything else, is practice is performance and performance is practice. So like that's how I deal with if I show up and play to nobody. It's like you're still practicing what you do and you're still performing. And because what you do for practice is to perform. And like also when I'm at home to like try, because I say practice is performance, so perform it. So those are two things.
Brilliant advice. Thank you very much.
Thank
One
you.
last question from me. And it's around your top 3 goals. So I've asked so many artists this, and it's a question that I love to ask, and hopefully we'll revisit in a little while to see how their goals have got on. But no matter how long it would be, could be in the next 3-5 years, 3 to 6 months, for the rest of your career, what is Daniel Cain's top 3 goals?
With career, you're saying?
Anything.
Anything.
Can be anything. Top 3 goals in anything.
It's a really good question. Develop goals. No, I'm just kidding. As cliche as these things sound, make a positive impact on the world and culture if possible. Even if that's very quiet, even if it doesn't serve my ego. Leave the world a better place than I left it. Hopefully that my presence was worth something for positivity, And that doesn't mean happiness, just true whatever true good is that none of us might even know. That's probably the first goal. Yeah. Oh, gosh, I don't know, man. I'm really bad with those kind of questions. Because I'm the type to like be like, oh no, that's not later, but what the hell? Gosh, top 3 goals in general. And you said they can be temporary too. Like
Can be temporary,
right
can
now.
be whenever they want. Yeah, just
Okay.
jump into it. Just
All
throw
right,
yourself
that's
into it.
first goal, make a positive impact.
Got it.
Second goal, like release an album. That's like my biggest goal right now. Like for real. Is like I just want to put out more music so bad right now. And keep it going and build. And on top of that is to build like hopefully an entire discography where I achieve like a real flow and signature of what my creativity is. Like, to discover that is what I'm still totally involved in. And this doesn't mean it's like higher or lower when I say this goal too, but the third goal is I'd really like to create a family, and one that, I hope there's something that lives on past me, and set them up for a life they can get through. And I don't know, I don't think we can ever control that, but that's still a goal of mine.
Incredible.
I'd say that's it.
You've done really well for being put on the spot there. In about 2 or 3 minutes, you've done it. I love it, and we'll revisit them one
Okay.
time when we get to meet again in the near future, whenever.
Amazing.
But anyway, I've taken far too much of your time now. TJ, over to you.
I only have a couple more things, mate, because I know we've been blabbing
This
for
all's
ages.
fun. I'm like, this is
As
fun
long as
for
you're
me.
having fun, mate. But yeah, I think, going back to the slogan we talked about earlier, and I thought, no pain, no Cain. You can have that on a t-shirt.
That is hard. I like that. That's nice.
Create some
That's a good-
merch. I'll take 5%, but yeah, you can
I'll have
have
to
that.
give you. I'll do tithings on that. I'll give you a tenth.
Well, I thought we'd
Write that
kind of-
down.
yeah, man. Yeah, see, it's amazing, isn't it? I should be a writer too.
No,
maybe
You
not.
should.
No, maybe not. Don't encourage me.
Nope.
Nope. Fair enough.
Hey, if you
But,
got a heart, you got a beat, and if you got soul, you got rhythm.
Absolutely. I've got Appalachian Soul. That's the other t-shirt I've
Right.
got upstairs. There you go. That's awesome. So, well, I thought we'd try and kind of end things on a nice, light-hearted note. And I mentioned earlier, I love looking through people's socials to kind of just see what's going on, see what funny things are happening. I love looking through yours because you just kind of say things as you see it. And so I thought we'd play a quick game of Did Daniel Say It? I could probably come up with a better title for it, but I'm going to ask Ronnie now I'm going to put it to him, some statements, and he's got to figure out whether you said it. Yeah, fuck it. Whether it's a true Daniel Cain statement.
Oh, that's hilarious.
You got me on that one, didn't you? You bastard.
I've been waiting for that all night.
You have, yeah, eagerly. You could not wait.
Yeah.
Oh, you got me. So, Ronnie, are you ready? Are you ready for
Right,
this
wait.
game?
I've got 2 signs because I couldn't find a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So I found a no. And I found a
That's the middle finger.
yeah. And I found a yes. Yes. No. Ready?
Oh, this
Why?
is incredible.
This is probably the worst podcast you've ever been on, mate. But
Or
we have fun. We have fun.
Yeah.
Just for as long as I ramble on. That's all. That's why.
No, it's all interesting stuff. It's when it gets to our ridiculous tidbits that people probably switch off. But we'll keep at it. And so, Ronnie, are you ready? I'm going to read out some either genuine Daniel Cain statuses, or you got to figure out whether they're false. So the first one is, you can't contain the container. True or false?
True.
Is it true, Daniel?
It's true.
Yeah.
This is hilarious. This is one of my favorite podcasts for this game alone. This is
One of the
really
most
funny to me.
ridiculous ones you'll be on. Here's another one. So, I have a man crush on Warren Zeders. I want to be him so badly. Did Daniel say it, or did he not say it?
I'm gonna go no.
No. How did you say that?
I'll do 2 more. These ones
Oh,
are
that's
really good.
hilarious.
The next one is, it would take only one Daniel Cain to beat the fuck out of a gorilla.
Yes.
I can imagine you saying that, Daniel, but
Yes.
is it true or false, mate?
It's false. I didn't say that.
Oh, no.
Oh, man. I'm sure you did say something about a gorilla at some point.
I
but,
would.
I
would
did.
say-
I'm trying to remember. I said I might even fight a gorilla when I was promoting the show a couple weeks ago. I said I might even fight a gorilla.
I would
I was
give
paraphrasing.
away all my worldly possessions to watch you fight a gorilla.
Yeah, I probably would too because it'd probably die. I'd probably die. I'd be giving it all away.
Obviously, no animals were harmed in this
Right.
section. Yeah,
Just this animal.
Yeah.
And my last one, this is tricky, this one. You could do anything you set your mind to. Yes, even teleportation and time travel. Did Daniel say it?
I'm going to err on the side of caution and say no.
I said it. Let's
shit.
I mean,
Should make him do a
hilarious.
shot for every one he gets wrong.
Do it again. Do it again.
I thought that was quite a fun game to play.
I love that.
That was fun.
Well done, Tim.
I do say some random shit.
Anyway, very good.
So,
A lot of times I'll have an inner monologue with the things I say or want to say. So like that day I just wanted to say something motivational. A lot of times it's like note to self, stuff for myself. And I'm like, hey, maybe someone else can benefit from that. Don't be so selfish. And then I always think about and sometimes I'll think of it in inner monologue where someone's like, oh yeah, even time travel. And so I remember posting it and I was like, before I posted it, I went, and yes, even time travel.
so deep, man.
Oh, God, this has been incredible. I'll tell you.
Told you, we'll end on a light note. There we go.
Yeah, that's fun.
So, I think I don't want to bore you with any more questions, really, but I thought
Y'all do what
maybe
you need, but I'm literally. It's a rainy day out here. I'm probably gonna go work out after, and that's it.
like
So I'm
to say we'd do the same, but we'd be lying if you know us well. But I think we'll probably end it to say, you mentioned earlier. As he's holding up more signs, you know what? I'm just going to turn his camera off.
God.
I'm gonna edit all of that out, all of your jokes. Yeah, the last thing you mentioned potentially coming back to the UK, and Ronnie missed this really because he's the gossip queen of the Rugged Revival, and I'm surprised he hasn't pushed you more on plans to come back to the UK and what you might be doing, if you can tell us anything at this stage.
I would definitely be playing music. I'll say it like that. I don't want to say anything more just because I really don't like to count chickens before they hatch. But there's a festival that's looking likely to happen, and potentially we're going to just set up another tour like last year around it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It'd be really cool if it does, but I don't want to spill the beans otherwise, because then what's the excitement? But
exactly, yeah. Just for Ronnie's own entertainment. So we'll move on past that anyway. But look, man, it's been a real pleasure having you on, Daniel. It's been fun. It's been awesome getting to know you. You've revealed and shared so much. It's been it's been emotional, mate. It's been good.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to you coming back. We'll have a beer this time and spend some time and maybe even if you've seen our new grit sessions, get involved in that. That's something that we're doing.
And if I'm over there and you want to, this is me saying it right now, I'll totally do that. I'd love to.
Oh, you're a legend, mate. You're an absolute legend. Well, because Ronnie's so good at doing this, I always let Ronnie do the final message because he normally fucks it up completely. But so there's no pressure. We won't stare right at you while you're doing it.
Daniel, what he seems to forget all the time, he's got a memory like a sieve, is that I do some comments at the end from some of the artists because TJ like doing. We like doing a bit of a deep dive into people's socials and seeing what people are commenting about and after they've seen your shows. So I'd like to end on a high by giving you some comments that people have made about you. But there is one comment I had to put in there, but TJ is going to be gutted when we end this because he is your number one fan. And now that we've been speaking tonight, I'm probably your number two fan. But these are some of the comments that people have made after seeing you play. Daniel Cain isn't just singing songs, he's telling, oh no, it's that word I can't say, Appalachian stories with a modern outlaw twist. If you're looking for country music that hits you in the heart and the gut, Daniel Cain's your guy. Raw, real, and rooted, Daniel's music feels like it was carved straight from Kentucky soil. He's got the grit of Waylon, the soul of Sturgill, and a voice that stops you mid-scroll. Daniel Cain brings the kind of honesty to country music that you can't fake. Every lyric feels lived in. Listeners say he had them hooked within the first 3 words, and we believe it. A rising gem in the Americana scene, Daniel Cain is one to keep your ears on. Now, we can't really say it better than that. You've been incredible. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you tonight. It's been wonderful meeting you. Thank you for putting up with us, especially TJ. But Daniel, if you've got a drink nearby, we're going to raise a toast, right? And I'm going to try and say it without fucking it up this time. So we're going to raise a toast to the grit, the grind, and to the revival. Cheers, everyone, for listening. Cheers, Daniel.
Cheers.
Cheers, bro. Cheers, bros.